So today I'm going to be doing Hongling Palace. So first I'm starting off by building the gate. As you can see, I've already started a little bit. And I was like, hey, why don't I record this and voice over it? Because that would be really cool. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing. And right now I'm just using basic shapes to really sculpt the roof and everything. Now I'm adding fencing here and I'm making it into an actual fence, of course. Very fancy indeed. Now I'm building the outline, and as you can see, I'm bringing the walls back and forward to make sure that it's completely even and not wonky, because that annoys me. And then I'm building the second floor, which is a little bit back from the first floor, and then I'm building the third floor, which is again a little bit, and that's just me checking to make sure it's even. So now I'm building the pathway. I always imagined it to have like a really grand pathway, kind of like a round pathway with like a fountain in the middle or a pool in the middle. Not a pool, but like a pond in the middle. So I'm going to do a pond because I like ponds more. It's going to be two separate sides, here and here. And I'm just colouring them, and I can't choose if I wanted stone or wood, so I went with stone, and I thought stone looked pretty good. And that's just me building where the roof is going to go. And now I'm putting in the roof here, and the roof here, the roof here, and then I'm building the roof up here to look like how I thought it would be to match the front. And now I'm building the overhang, and it's slightly tilted upwards to add more like depth into it. And I'm colouring it grey since it's the first floor, and it's where usually all the house workers are, the kitchen, the laundry, and I'm making that all grey because, you know, it's a grey sad area. And then I was going to do the second floor green, and then you'll see later on I changed it to grey because I thought I only wanted the top roof green. Here's just me outlining the path so that you can see it's a path, and I'm choosing a fence that I want, and I chose this fence because you can still see it and it still looks nice, but it's going to be hidden behind the plants, and I don't want it to take away from what the plants look like. So here's me just adding some plants, and I'm just duplicating everything and putting it on the other side because it's a palace and everything's all even and well kept. And now I'm adding rocks and re-outlining the thing. This is me turning it into a pond since I wanted it to be a pond. And here's me building bamboo sticks because of the location it is in, and I'm just putting the bamboo around. I found this part really challenging because I didn't want it looking just like I had just taken the same spot and copied and pasted it over and over again, but I think I did a pretty good job. It's usually an issue I have with repetitiveness when building. And then I added a small little light in the front, and here's me just colouring the trees to a lighter colour since it's going to be in a snowy atmosphere, and I want the trees to be lighter and look more deadish, not dead, but like more like they've been snowed upon. So as you can see, I'm changing all the trees to be a darker sort of colour. I'm adding two fountains, which I end up removing because I didn't end up liking the fountains in the end. Here's me just changing all of that to grey because it suits, it fits. So we're back, and now I'm adding all the snow because it is a snowy place. So I didn't know what I wanted to do for snow since there isn't a snow, and I was thinking of making sand, and then I decided not to since sand looked too sandy, I guess, in my opinion. So here's just me, and now I'm colouring the walls, the actual walls, and I decided to make them wood and like a dark wood to go with the darker theme since it is a darker part of the book, and I'm making the top part of the roof green since it's the bright colourful bit where the royalty is, and royalty usually wear a lot of bright colourful stuff. Here's me adding more snow piles so it looks like it's been snowing. They're just dirt, but I recolor them to be snow. So I'm just using dirt piles as snow since there's no such thing as snow piles. So I start building like where it is, and as you can see it looks really spotty right now, but I fix that later. So here I add the door, and I sort of see what it looks like from the front. I decided I like it. I'm going to add more windows, these round windows, because I love round windows. And now I'm covering the door, and now I'm adding and resizing the windows. You'll notice I changed it to be a darker part of the day. It's because I wanted to light it up. So I'm putting lights underneath the snow piles so that you can't see the lights, but it's still light. And now I'm building where the dragon goes. So I'm just building a cage, and I'm sort of doing a mix of pillars and walls to really like change the feeling. And now I'm building the dragon. I think the dragon was probably the bit that I struggled with the most, because I didn't really know what shapes to use since I only had triangles, squares and circles. But I think I did a pretty good job with the dragon for someone who's never tried to build a dragon before. But yeah, I think the dragon turned out pretty well. So I'm just adding shapes and trying to figure out how I would do this, how I would elevate the shapes, and I just decided to make it one big shape. And then, as you can see, I added a cube pack there, so it sort of looked more turny. And then I'm adding the neck and the head. And now I'm trying to figure out how to add a wing, but I couldn't really figure out how to add a wing since I couldn't make it sit the way I wanted it to sit, as in it was locked behind a paywall that I couldn't use. And I wanted the wing more upwards, but it wasn't working, and there was no real way to do it. So here's my first attempt of making the wing, where I put in a block and then I tried using structural items to make it look more blended, and then I deleted that because it wasn't working. Now I'm just adding glowing eyes, because dragons have glowing eyes in my mouth, in my head. And then I add a tongue, because the dragon needs a tongue. There's my second try of building a wing, didn't work either. And here's my third try, where I built basic shapes going upwards, and I feel like this was the closest one I got, but it just wasn't looking how I wanted it to look, and it just wasn't working for me, so I just deleted that. So now it just looks like a giant lizard, so I decided to put horns since lizards don't have horns. I mean, dragons are basically giants, but I decided to add horns so that you can see that it's definitely a dragon, because dragons have horns and lizards don't. Now I'm coloring the walls. I didn't really know what color I wanted the walls, but I think going with stone was a good idea. I was originally going to go with wood. I think going with stone was a good idea, and it sort of added the grey and green colour scheme, and I did the wood on the outside as I always wanted. And I'm adding a green roof to that because the dragon is a big main part, or not a big main, I mean it is a main part, but I wanted you could see the dragon, as in it was the main part, I guess. So that's why I made the roof green for that. Now I'm trying to build ping out of basic shapes. Here's me trying to build ping. I didn't really know how, since I couldn't really build bodies, and I also couldn't really build hair either, or faces, since I can't really do the really small details. I can do small details, but like you physically cannot do tiny details. So here's me attempting to sort of build hair, but it wasn't working since builds were too thick and they didn't look like hair, and she just had so many bald spots, and no. So I increased the size of the top thing and I really tried building it, but it didn't work. And then I just decided to make the whole head black and add a poster where the face is gonna go and make the face. So, here I'm just adding arms, and I'm trying to add a ponytail since I think adding one singular ponytail would look good. Here's me adding more windows. Now I'm getting rid of the fountain and I'm building the dragon pickling station where they pickled the dragon over the fire after it had died. And pots. And there weren't big enough pots, so I added 2 instead. I really wanted one big giant pot, but it didn't really work since I couldn't do that, which was really annoying. Yes, I'm just adding more lighting, and I'm just lighting up the inside so it looks good from the outside. And now I'm adding curtains so it looks good from the outside as well. Here's me adding painting, and I'm adding more snow around so it looks more natural instead of just white splotches everywhere. There's me adding Pink's face. The poster wasn't really working, so I changed it to a translucent decal, and I put her face in there instead. And then I did the decal at the top here, and I didn't really know what to do, so I just did some mountains, and here we go.